Constellation software is a premise of basically they acquire a company and they'll never sell it. So I believe I'm one of about 700 plus companies that they've acquired over the years, and we're just a extremely strong, growing software company. We're doing very well. It's a great company to work for, and it also gives a lot of stability for the home builders because they know that we're not fly by night, disappear tomorrow. If they invest in the software, they know they're going to get the support they need.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Milo Anderson. He's the Director of New Home Listing Service at Constellation HomeBuilder Systems. Milo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Milo, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, that's a big story, but we'll see what I can squeeze in here. I've been working with Constellation HomeBuilder Systems since 2019. As a director, I run that project and a few other software systems. Prior to that, I was an entrepreneur. I had created NHLS, newhomelistingservice.com, a web portal, and a few other software-related ventures, I guess, prior to that, one crash and burn. And I've also been a real estate agent for about 20 years, most of that time with Remox. I run most secondary institutions. I've been a teacher. I've been a vice principal. So a whole diverse mix of projects. I also run some of my own projects on land development in Guatemala, Mexico, etc. And in between there, somewhere I've got 4 daughters and 5 grandkids to take care of. Well, they take care of me now. So. Yeah.
Well, sounds like you've had, quite the career getting to where you are now. Tell me a little bit more kind of about Constellation HomeBuilder Systems.
Well, in Canada, Constellation Software is one of the largest software companies in the country. Underneath that, they have a number of vertical divisions, one of which is called the Constellation HomeBuilder Systems vertical. So we focus on anything related to new home builders. There's other divisions with real estate, et cetera, but ours is new home builders and essentially all the various services from, obviously, some people say cradle to grave, from basically land development all the way through to following up with the service on warranty. And so we have a number of different software systems in there. The core of those are ERP systems. We have 3 different enterprise resource planning systems. One is called NewStar, one is called FAST, one is called Buildtopia, and it depends on the size of the builder. So that's kind of the core of what we do. And then wrapped around it is various other software systems like Homeowner Central, which does surveying, does warranty work and all the things that are happening with that home once the person is in it. We've got Customer Insight, which says, how was your experience with the builder and what could they do better? We've got Mine, which is on the front end, more the marketing. How does it get it out to various places like Realtor.com, Zillow, and all those places? We help the builder connect all that for them. And then we got a few other software systems around that as well. So yeah, it's a big story. It's a big company. It's been around for a long time and doing very, very well.
Wow. So it sounds like there's been a lot of growth within the Constellation as a brand as a whole, venturing into these several different kind of sectors.
Right. Yeah. Constellation software is a premise of basically they acquire a company and they'll never sell it. So I believe I'm one of about 700 plus companies that they've acquired over the years, and we're just a extremely strong, growing software company. We're doing very well. It's a great company to work for. And it also gives a lot of stability for the home builders because they know that we're not, fly by night, disappear tomorrow. If they invest in the software, they know they're going to get the support they need for, a long time into the future. And that not only that, we've got the resources to continue development and make it better and address new technologies as they come along into that software.
So you mentioned one thing that stood out to me in that last little bit, that Constellation, when it acquires a business, that it never sells. Do you think that's one of the ways that Constellation's really able to stand out, as a brand as its whole? And then we'll kind of take that a bit deeper into, your specific with Constellation HomeBuilder Systems.
Well, to be honest, I don't know enough about the Constellation corporate, but to really, really comment on that. I mean, I know that's what the strategy is, and but what I can comment as an entrepreneur, I was doing everything from, sweeping the floors to doing software development in a day. When I got acquired, what was nice was that they allowed me to focus on the business. There's a marketing group which helps me with that. There's a finance group that helps me with that. And so they created a structure around succeeding, which is really difficult for an entrepreneur. And so that's really the format that makes it work. They help you, they support you, but also part of the acquisition was that they wanted the person who was passionate about the company to come with it. And I think those are some key reasons why they've been successful with a lot of the measures that they take on.
And why do you think it's so important for, that passionate leader to be a part of that transition?
You got to have drive. You got to know where it's going. You got to have a vision about what it was you created in the first place. I know for my role with the real estate background that I have, there isn't a lot of people in the home builder side of our software business that also have the real estate background. And so there's an advantage there for me. I'm able to bring that to the mix with the Constellation team, but I'm not a developer. So, I can figure out the business process, but we have some highly talented developers who are coming up with some strategies that are just, the use of artificial intelligence, a number of different things that are starting to happen. So, but unless you get somebody driven to figure out what direction the boat should be going and know when to adjust the boat by understanding the industry enough, I think you're in trouble. You can put anybody in charge of it, but they're just not going to be passionate. They gotta love what they're doing.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into Constellation HomeBuilder Systems. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, as I said, it's one vertical. So we focus on kind of different software within that particular vertical that is specific to it. So for example, like a CRM tool goes right across various verticals. We're not going to look at that, but looking at specific things that are very much defined for home builders, because it's kind of like the old analogy of do what you do well, like, stick with it. We know home building. We know home builders' needs. We've been around, I think New Star is going on to be like 25 plus year old software. Like not the software itself is that old, but it's been around that long. We're even developing a new version of it that's going to be even, cloud-based, etc. There's a lot of really cool things that can happen with that, but unless you understand what the builders want and need, you're not going to be able to provide it. And Constellation's been around long enough. We have, I think, over almost about 50% of the builders in North America use one or more of our software systems. So we've got some good expertise and some good talent behind it. And a number of people actually that used to work in the home builder industry that are part of our team now. We've got a gentleman who leads our data science side of it. That's a whole new realm, obviously, as builders having the ability to look at data and make better decisions on business decisions. For example, like inventory management and all those kind of things. So we've become experts in that, and we're able to share that with the builders.
Interesting. And when you're talking about the different solutions, I imagine there's a lot of different pieces that go into, what builders, developers need. Talking about land management, construction management, like kind of your position, listings and leads management. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, like I said, it's a whole diverse mix. You've got some developers who do the land development, and we have an entire software that assists with that. The big one is those ERPs, those enterprise resource planning. And so, it depends on the size of the builder, how many homes you're building a year. We've got, if you're building 100 plus a year, you may want to look at our New Star system, but it also ties in, it has a built-in accounting system. It has built-in inventory management. It has all those kind of pieces part of it. We've got another one called Buildtopia where you can attach an accounting system to it that maybe you're using at this point, and it's designed for a little bit smaller builders. And then even like my portal is more for listing and community management. But if you're a small builder who only build maybe 5 or 10 a year, there's still people out there that are managing their buildings on Excel spreadsheets. Like, you got to look at it and go like, what am I building? How many square feet is it? Somewhere you have to manage that. And if you're smaller, why would you pay for a huge software system? But people can look at, for example, NHLS, the system that I have, they could actually manage it on there. And then also we help them connect out to places like Realtor.com, Zillow, New Home Source in Canada, Kijiji. We have all those connections already made. So the builder's not having to spend their time, resources, or hiring IT help to make that happen. We've already got that happening for them. So I think the key of Constellation HomeBuilder Systems is that a lot of our software systems integrate to each other. So I was telling you about customer insight, where we do the surveys of the consumers who have built the home. Well, we actually integrate that into newhomelistingservice.com, and you can see the surveys and the reviews by the consumers of the builder in one place. So those two systems speak to each other.
Interesting. And when you're talking about these builders, you mentioned, anywhere from 5 houses. Do you see trends in the size that works with Constellation Home Builder Systems?
Well, that's for our flexibility. We have the ability to work with all builders, essentially. We're more geared to the larger builder, to be honest. Our New Start system is really meant for people that are building, 70,000 homes a year. I mean, it's crazy what the strength of that. One of our customers is, I think, the top 5 builder in the U.S. I mean, they're building some huge projects, huge developments, and our job is to help them make that easy. It's really, really important when you're getting down to, like, they literally have to figure out how many 2x4s go into this house. And if I'm going to buy all those 2x4s for this many houses in this community, at what price point do I buy them? And how much does a 10 cents increase on a 2x4 impact my overall budget on an entire project in the community when you're using that many 2x4s for that many homes? If you don't have software helping you do that, I don't know how builders handle that, right? For the most part, it's crazy to me. I don't get to work all the details of that software system, but I know that it's incredibly powerful. It makes a big difference to the builders that use it.
Fantastic. I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit, Milo. Talk about common misconceptions. You mentioned you've got a very diverse background, from the real estate to where you are now, kind of well, those are parallel, but, a lot of different areas that you've touched in. Talk to me about, specifically with your position, are there any common misconceptions that you hear often about the industry or anything like that?
Yeah, I think software people have they're a bunch of nerds. And I want to say that nicely. I work with so many amazing nerds, and they're not. They're incredibly intelligent people who understand business processes, but have an ability to look at it in a way that the common person does not understand. And it's not just programming code. In this, we have people like business analysts and so forth that review all of it. So I think the misconception is software is just some guy in a room programming away, or some lady in a room programming away to make this thing happen. Reality is our systems are successful because we do early adopter groups. We meet with the builders. We want to find out, like, yeah, we could build it. We don't know exactly if it's going to fit what you want. We're doing it the other way. We want builders to tell us, this is the problems I'm having. This is the issues that I'd like to solve, and help them do that. But also there's times when we have to be the leaders because they may not even know what it is they need to solve. For example, we're working on a new product called Buy Now, and it allows people to buy a home instantly online. Just like you can order a Tesla and all that stuff, we're building that now so that people can actually do the transaction without meeting with a salesperson. So there's some interesting development and technology around being able to do that, but there's also a lot of headaches. There's things like, can you collect money, and how do you do identity verification? All these things that come back to, unless you've got a strong group that understands the technology, good luck trying to accomplish that task. So thankfully, I have a really, really strong team behind me. I can come up with these crazy ideas, and they actually make them happen. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, Milo, I think this has been, a great conversation. If people want to go to learn more about Constellation Home Builder Systems, where would they go?
ConstellationHomeBuilderSystems.com. That's the easiest place. All of our products are there. Happy to, if they want to reach out to me directly, it's milo.anderson@constellationhb.com, constellationhb.com. So yeah, happy to go through that. Lots of interesting careers. And so I think if there's any young people watching this podcast, that's the other thing they should really consider. Like, I know when I grew up, it was like, oh, a university and you're going to get this degree and everything else, but there is going to be a mass shortage. There's already is a mass shortage of the trades and the blue collar worker. They deem the blue collar. It's it's kind of a bad term, to be honest. Like, there are people that are doing construction. I met a lady once who was doing insulation. There you go. Now I'm getting tongue-tied. In Toronto, and I think she was making about $150,000 a year installing insulation. And so when people think, oh, I don't make as much money, they should really consider the building industry. There's some really cool stuff out there, and a lot of technology and a lot of data that I think fits with the modern young graduate who might never even consider the industry.
I think that's fantastic. That's a great little bit to leave our listeners with, Milo. I think this has been a great conversation, very insightful. I appreciate, your background, kind of what turned into, you working with Constellation. I think this has been fantastic, and I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
I appreciate the interview, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day and not too many tongue twisters for items.
Fingers crossed. Take care.
Bet. All the best.